What's up, guys? Higgins in Japan here with another edition of the Friday video. The Friday video is the video that I make right here in my car on the way home from work on a Friday. And I'm actually telling the truth for once. It's Friday, I'm headed home from work, and you're watching a video. So all of the things so far I have said are true, so there's no reason for you to hate me. So why do you hate me? No, I'm just kidding. So, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Friday edition of the Friday video thing, as opposed to like a Thursday edition of the Friday video thing, in which case it would not be called the Friday video thing. I am driving home from work in what you can probably kind of maybe tell looks like a different vehicle. That's because you would be correct. I now have a new car, a different car from what I have normally been driving on the Friday videos for the past year and a half. And if you watched the previous video, you'll know that I was with my friend Titus. He's not here in the car, as you can also tell, because you would see him here. He's not here. Also, you can probably tell it's raining a little bit. We got a little bit of sprinkle here on this lovely fall evening in Japan. So, what am I going to talk about on this week's video? Well, I wanted to touch on something that somebody actually left a comment on the last video, and I apologize for not remembering the name of the person that left the comment, but you know who you are, and if you go back to that video and you watch that video or you read the comments, you'll know somebody left a comment, so I'm not actually just making that up. Someone actually did leave a comment. They wanted to know, or they wanted me to touch on kind of the buying experience of a car, because I did kind of talk about the things that go into buying a car, the things that you need, the things that you need to be able to do, you know, such as drive in Japan. I'm still trying to figure out the intermittent wiper setting, so forgive me if the wipers seem like they're going out of control. Anywho, yeah, they wanted to know about the buying experience, and more along the lines of the language barrier, or the kind of the thing that you'll need to expect if you're going to try to buy a car in Japan if your Japanese is not up to snuff. So first, the first thing, when I bought the previous car that I used to have, the Suzuki Wagon-R, a little silver, what did I call it? Silver Bullet. Then I actually brought a friend with me, and is that supposed to be intermittent? That's high, that's low, and that's intermittent. Okay, it wasn't as intermittent as I would like. Anywho, so I brought a Japanese friend with me to actually help me. One, I wanted to make sure that, you know, if I had any questions, you know, about the car that I was going to be buying, he could, you know, help me out in that respect. And you know, it was a huge help because, you know, there's things that maybe you don't know about buying a car, or things that you do know about buying a car, but maybe you don't know how to say those things in Japanese. So if that's the case, I would highly suggest you bringing somebody with you that speaks the language. Also, I had never bought a car in Japan. The cars that I had had previously were all leased cars through the company that I worked for at the time, and so I didn't have to worry about anything. If, you know, I had to get something fixed on the car, or had to get an oil change, or had to do all of that stuff, that was all run through the company I worked for. I didn't have to do any of it. And so, you know, and I didn't have to worry about buying the car because it was a lease, and so I didn't have to worry about anything except, you know, the daily maintenance and, you know, putting gas in and stuff like that. And so that kind of stuff I hadn't done before, and so I wanted to bring somebody with me that obviously knew more than I did, and knew, hey, this is a good deal, or hey, you're gonna get ripped off, or hey, maybe don't do this, or buy your car at this place, or, you know, just those sort of things that you're gonna have questions about when you're buying a car. This time around, though, and I kind of touched on it in the previous video, is I went to a couple different places. I went to a couple different used car dealerships. I went to one car dealership in particular, and I'm going to put them on blast because they're a chain and they're all over Japan. A place called Apple, and I was very disappointed in the service with Apple. I walked in, and drove under the dealership, looked at a car, stood around, saw a couple of mechanics working. Nobody made any effort whatsoever to even say anything to me. Can I help you? Who are you? Why are you looking at this car? Nothing. And so I got in my car and drove off. The place that I got this, shout out to them, Garage 7, hooked me up. Not only did they greet me as soon as I got out of the car, they were very helpful with me and my limited Japanese. They were very kind, very, very nice, and very helpful. But when I got this car, I was with some friends. I was with Titus, you've seen in the video, and another friend who doesn't actually have a name. It's really weird. He doesn't, just doesn't have a name. So it was the three of us, and so between the three of us, we were able to ask them, all the things that I needed to ask. My Japanese is borderline terrible. Their Japanese, thankfully, is a lot better, which may or may not have been the reason why we stopped at the dealership that day. I'll never certainly tell them that that's why. But yeah, so I was with people, and we were able to ask them things. There were things we had to kind of look up because, how do you say, hey, I want to trade in my old car towards the purchase of this car. Can you do that here? Which is what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to keep, I don't need two cars. What am I, the president? I don't need two cars. Does the president even have two cars? Does the president even have a car? I don't even know. But yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask was, can you take my car? Please take my car, and I will trade it toward, I didn't even care really what they gave me for it, because I knew it wasn't going to be a lot, because the insurance was almost up on it, or the inspection was almost up on it, and there was some stuff that needed to be fixed on it. And so I knew that they weren't going to give me a whole ton for it. I wasn't really concerned with that. What I was concerned with was getting rid of that car and getting this car. So that's what happened, and that's what they did. And so to answer the longest way possible to answer that question is, my Japanese is terrible, but my listening ability of Japanese is a lot better than my speaking. That being said, I was able to figure out what I needed to do to get this car. But yeah, if you are at all concerned when you're buying a car, or any kind of big purchase in Japan, bring somebody with you. And it's something for me that took me for me it was, you need to put your pride aside. You don't know everything. There's stuff that you don't know. You got to ask people for help. Sometimes you just got to do that. And so it might suck, or you might think, oh, I don't want to have to ask anybody to help me. But you never know. You got friends, they can help you out. You can have them help with translation stuff, or just questions that you might have that you're not sure how to say or how to ask. And that's totally cool, and that's totally fine, because knowing your limitations and knowing what you can and can't do, which is the same thing as knowing your limitations, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a dumb person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human. We're all human. We all don't know everything, so there's that. So no, I don't know everything, but I did buy a car, and I was able to figure that stuff out. The other stuff is insurance. I got my car insurance online through a website. They don't call you. They don't do anything to contact you. It's all done on the internet. So as long as you have access to Google Translate and you can fill out forms in Japanese, you're good to go with them. And that's exactly what I did for my previous car and for this car as well. Because you gotta have that insurance so you can drive legal and stay safe. So hopefully that was the longest way to answer a question of hey, my Japanese is bad, but I brought people with me whose Japanese is better, to answer that question. And hopefully that answered your questions about buying a car in Japan. Hope that you guys like the car. If you go on to Facebook, or actually Twitter, go over to my Twitter and ignore everything else that I post. But there are pictures of this car, and there are pictures with me at the car dealership with the great folks at Garage 7. So shout out to them. thank you guys for working with me. And if you have any more questions about stuff in Japan, maybe it's something I can answer. If I can't, I'll find somebody that can for you, because that's what these videos are for. They're for people that have questions about life in Japan without all the nonsense that comes with people making videos about life in Japan. So, that being said, if you have any questions or comments, head over to facebook.com/HigginsInJapan, and you can ask me stuff there. You can also ask me stuff in the comments of this video, and hopefully you found this helpful. If you did find it helpful, I'm going to do the thing of saying, hey, don't forget to subscribe. But hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, even if you feel like that's what you need to do to make me happy. Because I don't charge for these videos. This is all free. I ain't charging for this. I should, though. But I won't. Have a good one, guys. Peace.